I'm expecting that we listen, believe, and support women who come forward with.
Justin Trudeau says that is his standard, and it applies to allegations against anyone, including him.
The standard applies to everyone. There is no context in which someone doesn't have responsibility for things they've done in the past.
Trudeau has dealt with sexual misconduct time and time again since becoming Liberal leader. Backbenchers Scott Andrews, Massimo Pichetti, Darshan Kang, all suspended or expelled from caucus since 2014. Cabinet Minister Hunter Tutu resigned from cabinet and caucus after an inappropriate relationship with a young staffer. Kent Hare resigned just last week, and other women have come forward since then. It's even reached the Prime Minister's office, where senior staffer Claude Eric Gagne is on leave while being investigated for inappropriate conduct involving multiple women. But Trudeau insists one name you won't see on that list is his.
I don't think so. I've been very, very careful all my life to be thoughtful and to be respectful of people's space and people's headspace as well.
His principles are firm, but the Prime Minister concedes the policy is a case-by-case work in progress.
I don't have a rule book that's been handed down to me from Wilfrid Laurier as leader of the Liberal Party on how to handle these situations.
And that only amplifies the need for change.
When you have women having to turn to the media or social media to get their message out, it's because there's a breakdown in the system somewhere.
Do you expect we'll hear more before this?
Oh, of course there's going to be more. The level of harassment and inequality and sexism in our workplaces across this country at every level has been too long ignored, and I think we've finally got to a point where every place needs to wake up.
In other words, this is only the beginning of a political reckoning. The end is a long ways off. David Cochrane, CBC News, Ottawa.
And the host of The House and CBC's national affairs editor here in Ottawa joins me now with more about that interview and specifically, Chris, what the Prime Minister had to say about what has become a cultural movement, certainly, but how it applies here in Ottawa and what can be done. What did he have to say about that?
Well, it's right, Rosie. He talked about, obviously, that rules would apply to him, as we heard in David's piece. But more importantly, he was open to the idea that was raised by a number of female MPs during debate yesterday on Bill C-65, which would amend the Canada Labour Code, to say he's open to the idea of a code of conduct. He said Canadian Olympians, when they go overseas to represent their country, have to sign a code of conduct. And he sees no reason why parliamentarians, who also represent their country in the House of Commons, shouldn't have to do so as well. So he's open to these ideas. He clearly understands there's likely to be more complaints. And I also sense, Rosie, that he was ready for the question. He'd been asked earlier in the day about whether anything he had done might raise concerns or complaints. So he said, look, I've been very careful as I've carried out my life. He was ready for the question, very confident, I thought, in saying, you can look at my record. It is unblemished, and it will be, even though, as I said, I am open to the idea that even the Prime Minister would have to be held to account in the future.
Okay, Chris, thanks for that. Okay.